Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live and the replay. I'm Amy, and Laila will be joining. Today we're going to talk about the Akashic Records and working in the Akashic Records. Hi, Laila. Hi, love. Hi, Trish. Let's let Laila come on. Here we go. Hi, Anna. Hi, Spark the Light. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's a bright and early morning. Oh, here she comes.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, so good, so good. Yay, this works so much easier than what it has in the past.
Yeah. I know. It's like, I think last time it took forever for me to come on. I don't know what was going on, but this is
Yeah.
great.
Let me turn up my volume here too. Okay, perfect. Okay, so have you introduced what we're talking about today or anything like that as people are joining? Hi, everybody.
Just barely, but we have more joining. So, yeah, we're going to talk today about the Akashic Records, and I have lots of questions for Laila. You all might too. So this is exciting.
Hi, happy Christmas month. I like that.
I do too. Yeah. So, Laila, do you want to share a little bit about like what the Akashic Records are for those who haven't ever heard about the records?
Yeah, sure. So the Akashic Records is basically, you can liken it to a couple of different things, but it's really like this huge celestial library that
Mhm.
holds all the information of your soul, of your higher self, animating itself through your soul's experience. And it gives you a resource, a well of knowledge, and really life force energy when you go into the Akashic Records to really understand who you are at a soul level, not just the physical level, but the soul level.
Mhm.
So when we go into the Akashic Records, it's one thing, it's a very healing energy because you're in the light of your own soul. So it's like you're soaking that back up. And a lot of us are really thirsty for our own like light and our own energy. But you also can connect in with guidance, the ascended masters, your loved ones, your guides. You can understand your past lives. You can really connect into as well like parallel future timelines
Mhm.
in the Akashic records if it's seen as being fit for you to see at that time. So yeah, there's a lot to enter into when you go into the Akashic records, and we all have access to it.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I've had a few readings, but then also in meditation or some of my energy sessions where I was the person with receiving the healing, I would just find myself in my records. And in those experiences, I think all of the time it can bring about wisdom and healing energy. But in those experiences, not only did it bring that, but it was like a lot of detail as to how that vibration or that pattern was repeating in this life.
Yeah.
And it provided such a deep level of healing because it's like sometimes we have things that repeat over and over in different relationships. And we're like, why is this happening? Or why is this one particular interaction so intense? And
Mm-hmm.
then I found a lot of answers in the Akashic records and was able to work with it. So there's a part about like when you access it, it can all start to unfold and the healing can start to take place. But also, have you found that it will be called, like when you do your sessions, do you get guidance around steps to take to help people work with that info?
Yeah, so I love how you talked about the fact that you see the pattern, and that's really kind of like the work that the Akashic Records does, because sometimes it's like, well, why do I need to know about a past life? Well, you really don't. And the emphasis isn't on the past life, it's on the pattern that is being repeated. And that past life is holding a very similar pattern to something you have chosen to clear up this lifetime, whether that be soul mission, collective mission, it's a pattern recognition. And so um, when we go into the Akashic Records, what was the second question you asked, Amy?
I had guidance around like what was my responsibility or steps to take in this life.
Yeah, so I love this part because you know, great information is only so great unless you can practically apply it. And so it's always, okay, why are you showing it? It's being shown for a reason, not only just for awareness, but then practical steps of like what you can do right now in your current life to start shifting that. And the first thing is just an awareness and acceptance of the pattern, and maybe some of the belief that maybe you kind of knew you had, like maybe some self-love issues, but not to the depth of what the Akashic records can show you. And then practical ways to start shifting it. And what's interesting is the guidance always really makes sense for people when they receive it. Like, oh, that makes so much sense. I just bought that crystal, or I just researched that yesterday, or I've been being told about it. So it's always very synchronistic as well. But the practical advice and the guidance that's received is typically how you treat yourself, how you think about yourself, how you love yourself. And they will provide mantras, invocations, they will provide certain therapy, crystals, different things like that, to help you along your journey. It's just like taking those next step on the journey. And so that's what's so beautiful.
Right. And I'm just thinking about when we read within the Akashic records, there's protocol basically, or a specific set of steps that you take. And you mentioned you channeled in a prayer that you use every time. And I had a reading with you. It was amazing. Like the moment you said that prayer, I could just feel all the energy shift. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. And it actually, I have channeled in another prayer, a different prayer since then. And
Wow.
so the cool thing about the Akashic records is people feel the energy.
Mhm.
It's never like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling it, and it's so immense and big, and it feels like so much love. It can kind of
Mhm.
like shock you, like you're like, oh my goodness, and it's learning how to soak that in. But in the sessions, it's really cool to be able to just guide somebody through how to, now you felt the energy of your soul, of the Akasha.
Mhm.
Now how do you walk through it? Because it can be a lot. And so that's a really cool experience. But yes, the channeled prayer, it's really balanced. It's all centered into the heart, which is what I've really been being taught through my guides is, you know, now it's like, let's go into our heart. That's the seat of our soul. That's where we're going to enter into the Akashic records, our truth, our intuition, our healing. It's all very heart focused. So the prayer I'm excited to share with everybody, so that they can start entering into their records as well.
Yeah. And so I have so many thoughts here, but let's start with this one with the prayer and sharing. So tonight, you're offering this experience where we can journey into our Akashic records at Soulwise LA.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you're going to kind of talk a little bit about it and then lead everyone through.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do the light prep meditation, because having a good foundation of energy flow is not necessary, but I think it's necessary to clear information. And people see a big shift after they do it. And then
Mhm.
I will lead them through the prayer. They'll repeat the prayer for themselves using their name, enter into the records, and then I'm going to prompt and guide while you enter into the records. What are you feeling? What are you sensing?
Okay.
Let's call in this, because I've noticed even with my one-on-one or my intuitive sessions or my course that I did, people are able to receive the information. It's just we need a little prompting and guidance so that we don't just like go, oh, well, that's it. Let's close the records. There's so much more to get out of it. So that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, it reminds me when I do the past life regressions that like as a facilitator, we prompt, like you're saying, the prompt and the guidance to help open the space for the information so that the person receiving or that's in the experience, like we don't have to use that part of our mind. We can just let it flow in. I think
Yeah.
that's a good like benefit of it. Mm-hmm.
And what's really cool with that is typically when I prompt something, they received that prompting, like it's already happening. Right when I prompted, like, oh my, I'll be like, okay, now call this, and like, oh, I just saw that, like it's coming in. So it's really cool, and it's validating. And I think that's the main thing, is that we want to just feel validated, we want to feel seen, and we just need to feel like, because people are having experiences and they're discounting them. So
Mm-hmm.
space you get to be felt and seen and heard and validated, and that like that builds your confidence so that you're like, I can go into the records and I can do this. So yeah, it's just prompting.
Yes, and I'm hearing this message that I see quite often, but it's about the aspect of a witness. So it's interesting when there's a witness or when we vocalize the experience, it brings it into this reality and grounds it. Like it's not just this, oh, I had this dream, or something floating in the ethers. And then when you have two or more that are there witnessing the experience, that's what helps alchemize it and really lets you feel the fullness, and it starts to integrate at that moment, actually, the healing work. So that's one reason why we can do so much solo, but I love going to see my healer. I love getting readings for that also, because it's like, okay, yeah, I felt this in my heart, but now it's like somebody else is here experiencing it too, and then we have that connection that really brings it to this reality, makes it feel alive. And real. And if anybody has any questions, and welcome everyone. We're talking about the Akashic Records and healing in the Akashic Records. And tonight at Soul Wise LA, Layla's leading us through an experience. So we'll put the link in the comment or the bio. The link is in our bio. Then we'll put them below after it's reposted on the replay. But I have a really interesting question to ask you, Layla, that I'm super curious about. And I was going to invite everybody to put their questions as well in the little question mark box at the bottom. But this is something that, and there's no right or wrong answer because, well, I'll kind of explain after. But when you've worked with people in their Akashic records, do you find that the lifetimes that come through are mostly on Earth? Or do you ever get things that are more like in spirit realm or other dimensions like Starseed or off-planet stuff? How has it typically been for you with specifically like in the Akashic records?
Yeah, I love that. So it's interesting. You can, for one, you can connect in with all because there is a old, well, one of the first books by Dr. Linda Howe stated like only Earth lives are in the Akashic records. But that's proven to not be true as we just continue to evolve and connect in and expand our consciousness. Typically, I get more Earth lives that come through. I know though, when I open up the records, exactly when I'm dealing with somebody who has way more star energy moving through them. And it's like, okay, they're here for a reason. And so those beings usually step forward and then I see those lives. The thing is, it's typically like they're still existing in that frequency when I'm seeing them come through as well. And so I'll have their like, their energy there in that life, talking to them in the records in this life. And so typically it's more Earth, but there is definitely a connection to star, like Starseed, well, not Starseed lives, star lives, where they've been off planet. And that doesn't come through that much, but I also think it is based upon your reader as well. So there's certain readers who only read that. So it's like, what do I bring through? What do I filter through? And it's mostly usually Earth life.
Yeah, okay, it's so fascinating because I haven't read Linda Howe's books, but I got some similar info, but it was years ago from the Council of Light when I started looking into the Akashic Record, like the idea of it, researching it, and I was asking, and they said at that time, a lot of the information was based on the earth. But then as I've had my healing sessions and that information comes through, it's kind of expanded or gone deeper. I think it like opened up to other lives off of Earth. So I think it can,
Yeah.
and it's maybe just where people are now starting to experience more of that. So I was curious.
Yeah. It's all about the intention. Like if the intention is to connect into that part of your records, that would start coming through. What was interesting is my first time into the records before I knew anything about it is I said the prayer and I literally went off planet to the that was all dusty looking and it had like steel pyramids and it was very interesting. I'm like, what am I seeing? I knew nothing. This was like before I met you or anything. And all these different light beings came around. They're like, you've been everything. And they were like twirling and twisting and they would show me human lives and like non-human lives and speaking. And so it's interesting that my first connection in the records was literally took me to this other planet and started telling me all these things that we all have lived in a very multi-dimensional off planet, on planet lives. So it's cool that they created that as the foundation and crux kind of the Akashic records. It's like, now come back here, like come back, anchor here and let's anchor in some of that wisdom. So yeah, I definitely think that there's the ability for both. I like to have a nice little blend of lives in star lives.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And it is different than, so Akashic Record healing and reading is different than the style that I offer. And they both, I mean, are great. They both are really beneficial. But I think we'll be called to the particular form of healing that we need in that period of time. What are some of the things that people come to you for that they get the most benefit out of an Akashic Records reading? Because I know there's like a way that you ask the questions and there's a lot of accountability that comes through. So I'm curious, like some of the, what you suggest, you know, for some of the approaches when they book a session.
Yeah, I think when people feel very disconnected from themselves, when they feel a disconnection and they don't see themselves as one worthy, they don't see their connection to the divine, they don't feel a connection to any light energy moving through them, they really need to have that plug back into that initial source, or that strong source of their soul frequency. When that happens, that is a beautiful way just to kind of like, I'm seeing a light bulb turn on. It's like they finally get to see the light of things around them. Then after that, it's really, if you are going through a pattern over and over and over, I feel like those are really good for the Akashic records, because without you telling me about it, I'm already seeing it and letting you know the validation of the different lives and the healing in the past lives that they do with. So I feel like it's really good for people who are really feeling like out of their body. They're feeling lost. They may be feeling really, really depressed. And they're like, is there anything out there? Am I more than just this life? Plugging into the Akashic records is going to give you that, you know, that grounding and that surge of energy to start seeing the truth of who you are and the light around you.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that really helps. Answer a question I had. And then there's a question here at the bottom. Let me take a peek and read it to you. Oh, it's from Chrissy. I don't have the answer to that, Chrissy. Yeah, no, I don't have a reference. She was just asking for a referral in her state. So let's see, there was something else I wanted to share. Well, for everybody that's joining, we're going to go through an experience tonight. And if you're not a part of Soulwise LA, you can totally join. We'll put the link and information in the comments after we post the replay, or you can go to soulwisela.com. But Laila's done some beautiful work in the Akashic records, and she's going to be leading us through an experience to go to our own records. I don't know if I've done one of these. Maybe. It kind of feels and reminds me of like when I've done a guided group session as the person receiving to go into past life. So what do you feel like that would be like the biggest difference between, you know, people do the past life regression and the Akashic record reading? Because I can feel there's a difference, and I'm wondering what's coming through for you on that.
So I feel like with it's all about how you so okay, can I explain this, because I'm feeling it.
I feel it too.
You can go into your past life in just like this, like a meditation. You can go into past life regression. You can go into the Akashic records and receive past life information and healing. When you go into the Akashic records, you're met with such a surge of overwhelming love. I think that's a little bit of like the frequency. It's less, there's no technical, it's not feeling very technical. It's like this surge and imminence of love moving through you. And so it allows you to very easily remember who you are and clear lives and see the patterns. It's the level of consciousness and thought that energy that you're sitting within. And so you can meet that in past life regressions, like I said, meditations. You can meet it in a lot of different ways, but I think that that's why I love it, because it really is this immense amount of love energy that moves through you. And so it's very easy to clear when you go into that. But I do a lot of like complex past life also does really well with past life regression. Like it gets you to a certain point, but I think it's always beneficial as well if it's like a repeating theme that we're really moving through, to have a past life regression as well.
Hmm. Yeah, because they both provide deep level of healing and insights. What you were when you were sharing that, what I was feeling was when you go into the Akash, you go straight to like the soul level, like right where the soul starts, and
Yeah.
then you can see all the opportunities and experiences from that focal point. When we do the past life regression work that I do, we're led to like pop into the lifetimes kind of like in reverse. Like then at the end we come to the soul. Is how my sessions work. Yeah.
Yes, I see that. And so like how they've shown it to me and how a few of my students who went through my course saw it as well is like we are in the center of the clock, like we're in the middle and we look around and we see all the lives and we can see how when we are working with the 9 o'clock life that happened in the 900s, how now this life in the future, you can see how that line of energy then heals that life. And so we get to see the web a little bit more and the tapestry of life, and then we can go into an individual thread of a past life or you know if we need to, but it's more like a clearing across the board, so it is a little different in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming from your soul perspective, which puts people in their power, I feel like. And I think that's what people need. When you the records, I'm having people channel through whatever their soul guidance is, and then they can also choose to go into the past lives that are wanting to be cleared or seen, or the patterns. And so that's the reason I like the records. I'm feeling that again, like the reason to say it is that it puts people in the driver's seat of their own life and their own soul experience. And I think that's why it can be so healing and empowering. And the people who feel called to it, it's completely for them. Like it's for you.
Hmm. Yeah, it feels like it has a level of richness to it, like because of the soul energy is right there. And I can see all these visions about it. So they're showing me, like I'm seeing from my guides, they're reminding me when I've had Akashic record sessions and I've had past life sessions. And they overlap, of course, because it's just different ways to access our energy and who we are, our experiences. But the Akashic record sessions for me had this like depth of emotion to them where it was kind of like, okay, what do I want to switch and change within me? Kind of my approach with my experiences and how I proceeded forward or decided in the past and like what that means for the now moment. When I've gone into my past life regressions and it's been about other people, that was more about the webbing and the relationships and like how everybody's tied together, and we just came at it from that angle. But all are really beneficial. And when we have our experience tonight, do you have a specific way that you want people to prepare or show up or intentions?
Yeah, so the best thing to do when you're prepping, especially because I've led a couple of these group entries into the records, is just to be in a space where you feel at least well rested, decently. It's at the end of the evening, a place where you can be undisturbed and comfortable, and cozy. Like having the perfect environment where you feel safe is going to be important. But I'm going to be leading people through calling in their pillar of light, grounding and opening their chakras and expanding their energy to prime their field. But yeah, like setting your space with whatever like you feel called to, bringing any crystals that make you feel really connected and flow, would be the main things. And then maybe a paper and pen, because a lot of people like to write down what they're receiving, when because it'll be like a lot of people just have this flow of channeling of words that are coming through. If you don't write it, it's like you're like, well, what did they say? It was beautiful. I can't remember. So write
Yeah.
it down.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you. I have a question. Somebody, let me see it. There's a question here from Rumjo, and she's asking for the person who's having an Akashic reading, is it exhausting for them? Do they gain or lose any energy?
I think the phone went out. Is it that I'm when I'm giving it or they're receiving?
They're receiving.
No, it really depends though, honestly. Afterwards, some people be like, wow, this was so intense. I need to like lay down and like integrate it all. I've had those experiences myself when I've gotten readings or I've done things. I need to go like lay down and integrate this. Some people feel like so electrified that they're like up and zinged because now they're into their source. And it's like, so typically I think it's that people feel electrified. But if you're doing a lot of deep healing, we're talking like We're working in the shadow, we're working inner child, we're clearing out these limiting beliefs. It's a physical release that comes off of through your body as well. And like, you know, Amy, same thing with energy healing and the healings you do with the Council of Light and all of that as well, is it has to come out through the body, and rest is the perfect place for us to integrate and start releasing. It
Mm-hmm.
really just depends.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're saying, it depends, and the process of receiving while the records are open and going in doesn't necessarily, it's not going to drain any energy at all. In fact, for me, it gave me more energy to be in that beautiful space. But I think with any experience, depending on what happens in there, there might be that integration. So,
I
yeah.
think more energizing than clarity. I think so much of us feel so low vibe, so low energy. I hate, well, not low vibe, whatever, low energy, whatever, because we don't have clarity on what we're doing, and what we just want is clarity. So we
Mhm.
in the records or in a session or in a you know, an intuitive session, whatever it is, the clarity gives you such a clear moving through of energy that you feel good. So I think the fog is what creates a lot of people's like exhaustion. And I notice when I go in and channel energy, then or channel information in the records, I feel so good. I'm all of a sudden energized again. So that's something as well. Clarity provides energy.
Yeah, yeah. Sharon's saying, I feel really good and balanced after a session.
Share. Yeah, she does so amazing in the records herself. She's somebody who took my course, and she is channeling through guidance, and yeah, just feeling so good afterwards. And I think that's what most of us just want to do. We want to feel clear, we want to feel connected, and we want to feel like we are just receiving our own guidance, and we feel secure in ourselves. And the Akashic records is a beautiful way to do that. There's a lot of different ways, but the Akashic records is
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so, so nice.
a
Before we close, do you have anything else that you want to share, Layla? Or does anybody have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to drop a question, they can while I'm saying this. But if you feel a call to the Akashic Records, tonight is a great way for an introduction. You can join Soulwise LA. You know, it's a month by month, so you can choose if it's for you or not, and try out Soulwise LA and see if you enjoy this kind of like group-led session. I as well, Amy, am going to be resharing my Soul Shift, the Akashic Records course. The replays, the downloads, the discussions, the students were like, yeah, you can share our discussions and our group led things if it helps people. So it's going to be this package that was, oh, somebody has a question too, but was a lot for one-on-one, but I'm going to be sharing it, I think for like, maybe like $97. It's going to be up here for the next couple of weeks before I revamp it and turn the price back up. So if you're interested in going into the Akashic Records and doing the self-led program, I'm going to be sharing that as well. But I think tonight is a great way to be like, ooh, how did the records feel? I loved it. Okay, now I have more info. How can I do this? And you get to doing it professionally and start working in that manner.
Yeah, yes. So the website, Spark is asking about the website. It's soulwisela.com, and it's Layla and my membership that we have every month, and we offer 4 experience per month. And then everything that we've offered is like available on the replay. So it's really nice. Plus the bonuses, there's meditations on there and other bonuses. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful community. Or if you just, it's like this, it's a respite. I feel like it's a place to
mhm.
come really um, feel refreshed and connected to energy, whether it's through our masterminds and teachings or coaching. If you have questions and wanting some guidance, energy healing sessions, it's a beautiful community.
Yeah. So we'd love to have y'all if anybody's interested in joining. If you're feeling a call, pop on over to the website. Like Layla said, it's month to month. And tonight we're having the Akashic journey. So this is going to be so wonderful. I'm excited, and I'll see you in a few hours.
I'll see you in a few hours. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.